Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Thanks for being here today. I hope that everything's great in your world. I am up bright and early and I'm having a cup of tea this morning with a new cup that I bought. I'm so excited. Who's excited about a cup? Well, this is a cool little cup. It's actually got a lid on it. Can you see how pretty that is too? It's kind of a oriental look. And it's got a little lid on the cup. And then inside the cup is something that I think is so helpful, and that is a little tea strainer. Like you pull it out, can you see? And then the water goes through and you are left with a beautiful cup of tea. You have to be super careful, it's quite hot. But anyway, you put the lid on then so I can sit here at my desk and work for hours and my tea stays hot and it's really lovely. And I'm actually drinking a green tea this morning. This was a gift from a family member in Russia, and she brought me some beautiful teas that were in these little boxes. They're really sweet, and this is a green tea and it's delicious. So anyway, I hope that you got a cup of tea or coffee, something that's good for you, because we're going to talk today about a topic to help you stay well and healthy in your 60s. Now, I do want to mention, however, that our show today is sponsored by International Living. International Living is a company who has been doing research for the last 40 years on places that people might want to retire around the world. And so they've got correspondents in places all around the world, in Costa Rica, Ecuador, Panama, Portugal, everywhere that you can think that might be a possibility for retirement. And these people are actually writing a report every year on what life is actually like there, how expensive it is, healthcare, all those kinds of topics that you might find of interest. And then they put together a global retirement index. And so International Living would like to share that with our 60andMe community. And if you go up to their website, it's internationalliving.com and then /60andme, 60 and me, you will be able to get a copy sent to you free of charge. There's no obligation. It's just an examination of 25 hotspots around the world that might make good retirement locations. So that's great. So thank you to International Living. Now, the topic today is one that you may not know too much about, but I predict that it's going to be something that we'll be talking about for many years to come. Now, when we started 60 and Me, we thought that well-being and health was like almost the number one priority. Financial security maybe is just as important, but this idea of eating well, taking care of your physical body is so important. And one of our bloggers, Anna Lamnari, wrote an article that was just mind-boggling to me. I knew a little bit about this, but she really explains it in a way that is so helpful. And that is the connection between the brain and the stomach, the gut. Now, you don't often put those two things together, but a lot of research has been done recently to show how what goes on in your stomach and your gut actually has a lot to do with how you feel, how you deal with immune challenges, and just your health in general. That there's a direct connection. And what she calls this is, basically the reason for this is these probiotics that live in the gut. There's billions of them, and they're actually bacteria that live in our body and keep us healthy. They devour the bad guys and all the toxins, and they take care of they regulate all the things in our digestive system, these probiotics. And the question still is, well, how does that connect with your brain? Well, there's this thing called the brain-gut axis. And it's basically a term that describes how things in our bodies work together, how they work in partnership. We don't have to think about it. It's automatic that they do these things, but they work together to actually just, make things tick, to make us work, to make our bodies work. There's been about 500 articles written in the last couple of years about this brain-gut axis, how they work together. You wouldn't have thought there was a connection. But basically, here's the deal. We've already started speaking about this without even knowing many, many years ago. We started talking about thinking with your gut, or having a gut feeling. Where did that come from? Well, it came from the fact that there is a direct relationship between what goes on in our digestive system and how we then act, our behavior, how our brain translates that into good health, bad health, or all kinds of other potential side effects. So you've got 10 times more bacteria in your body than you have any other cells. Well, the secret is that they're small. So there's lots and lots of bacteria. There's 10 times more, but they only represent like 3% of your body weight. But that's still 3% of your body weight of bacteria in your body. And it differs from person to person. Now, people, the research now are showing that it has something to do with things like whether we were breastfed or not, and most importantly, how many antibiotics we've been exposed to in our lives. Because these antibiotics, as you probably know, when we've got a serious illness that requires antibiotics, they do actually destroy these probiotics in this bacteria in the stomach. And the research is now showing that people who have had to have a lot of antibiotics for whatever reason are dealing with challenges with their stomach and their digestive system. And there's all kinds of things. Now, by the way, I'm not a doctor. Anna actually, I think, is a nurse, or she's got some medical background, but I'm just repeating what she wrote in her article. And she does link, by the way, to all the information. So just don't take my word for any of this. Go out and research it yourself. But basically, what she's saying is that this diseases like irritable bowel syndrome, even diabetes, colitis, Crohn's disease, these are diseases that affect the digestive system or impact the digestive system. And there can be a direct result, according to the most recent research, between what we put in our gut, our digestive system, and then these other diseases that manifest themselves. So I guess the question is, how does this bacteria actually help the brain? Well, it produces some vitamins that are useful for digestion, like B12. And according to the research, it can also affect our nervous system. And things like bacteria can fight these, it's called the fight or flight or relaxation nerves that produce these neurotransmitters that kind of communicate between the brain. And you can read the article for all the more specific information. But the bottom line is, there seems to be a connection between what we put in our stomach and how our brain reacts in terms of producing hormones, producing neurotransmitters that can decrease mood, can affect our depression, anxiety, all kinds of other actual illnesses as well, including, as I mentioned, diabetes. So, according to Anna, and she's got all the facts in this article, what can you do to help these little bacteria in your gut be more efficient and communicate more positive messages to your brain? Well, there's a couple of foods that are very, very good for this. Now, things like fermented foods. Now, we've got things like sauerkraut and kefir, which is a fermented dairy product, and also pickles, even the normal pickles that you buy in a jar that you put on hot dogs, hamburgers. Those are all good for you too. Fermented foods seem to be really good at regenerating these probiotics, these bacteria that are in your stomach. Also, you can make your own kefir. You can get these little starter kits at Whole Foods and other places like that, and then you can make your own kefir drink, and that's a really good thing to drink. It gives balance to your stomach. And also, of course, you can take probiotics. You can take a pill, which gives you a little dose of bacteria, fresh bacteria in your stomach that can help you to digest your food and stay healthy. Another angle, of course, is to avoid hidden antibiotics that you find in certain meat and dairy products. And there's not a lot that we can do about that except to be careful about the food and look on the labels and talk to the butcher and to the people in your shops about whether these animals were fed antibiotics, because that can affect you too. Those antibiotics can affect your stomach too. But most of all, the easiest way to probably do it is to add a probiotic supplement to your diet. I do myself. It's the only, actually, I take that, and I take lysine, which is something for cold sores. I get them quite often. And what else do I take? That's it. That's in addition to just my normal medications. That's all I take. And sometimes I'll take B12 if I just feel like I need a little boost of extra vitamins. But I think that if probiotics are added to your diet, that can possibly help. But again, go to your doctor, have a chat with him about this. I mean, most doctors now know about this connection between the brain and the stomach because it's such a big topic. And I think genuinely can help us to live healthier, stronger lives in our 50s and 60s and beyond. I'd love to know if you're familiar with this conversation, with this research, and what has been your experience personally with probiotics? Have you had any success stories or any stories just personally that you'd like to share? Just leave your comments in the section below. Let's know if you've had any experience at all with probiotics and gut health, and we can just learn from each other. Read Anna's article and get some more information on the research, and hope this has been helpful. I like to do topics now and again that are kind of outside my comfort zone. I don't know very much about this myself, so I'm just reading what Anna has said and sharing it with you. And I like to make sure that we don't just talk about the things that are externally interesting to us, fashion, beauty, all these wonderful things, but now and again go a little deeper into what makes us healthy in our 60s. So I hope they found this useful. I look forward to reading your comments and having a conversation on this topic of the brain-gut axis. And thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate your time. Take good care, everybody. Talk again soon. Bye for now.